Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to a brand new tactic video. And today we are going to be breaking down my version of a 4-2-4. Now this tactic is absolutely outstanding. We tested it with 3 teams and got 3 outstanding results, to be honest with you. A very high scoring tactic. Before we do get into the video, guys, if you do enjoy these tactic videos, the rebuild videos, etc, etc, please do leave a like on the video. Be sure to comment below as well what your favorite type of video is that I make. And please do subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. But let's get into the first season and break it down. Now, as you can tell by the thumbnail, we did decide to test it with Napoli and Manchester United. But we also did do it with Ipswich, a very lower league team with a lot less sort of elite players, just to see how it does do. Now, let's talk about this then. So, Manchester United, obviously a team in real life which aren't expected to win the Premier League. In the game, I'd say fair enough. But we still managed to work absolute wonders with this tactic, guys. We managed to score 115 goals, conceding only 26, which is a lot better than what I expected, considering this tactic is designed to sort of outscore teams. It's not going to be the best defensively because it is a lot more attacking, but we managed to also win the Champions League against Inter Milan and also the Carabao Cup against Brighton, with Cristiano Ronaldo scoring 66 goals. 66 goals. So fair play to him. Most assists. Manchester United fans, you're going to like this. Christian Eriksen, 30 assists. We'll only see about 5 from him in real life, but we'll take 30. We'll run with it. So, what a season this was, by the way. We're going to go into some of the stats then. So as you can see, we've got 66 goals coming from Ronaldo, 32 from Marcus Rashford, 18 for Martial, 18 for Jadon. We've got 13 for Diallo, 8 for Eriksen. If we go to assists, we've got 30 for Eriksen, 19 for Fernandes, 19 for Sanch, 17 for Rashford, 14 for Wan-Bissaka, 11 for Dalot. Now, what does this tell you, guys? I'm going to give you the answer for you. This tells you that pretty much so many players get involved in assisting goals and scoring goals. This tactic isn't about one player popping off and scoring the goals. It's about a group of players coming together, assisting each other, working together, and getting the results. And that is what makes this tactic so special, so fun to use, and just so dominant, to be honest with you. It's a genuine joy to play with. Going into the data hub, because we've got 3 saves, we are going to run through it very briefly, because otherwise, you know, we're going to be looking at the same sort of stats over and over. And also, we are going to include a bit of 2D analysis into the video. So, team attacking then. Absolutely outrageous. Team attacking, we did end up scoring over 3 goals a game. Expected just sitting at under that. What are we looking at? Pass completion around 89%, so approaching 90. Nearly 24 shots per game as well. And one thing I will say is, you might have a few shots off target because this tactic isn't about creating the perfect chance. But as you'll see, as you have seen with the goals that we've scored, you score so many goals by playing like this at the end of the day. You really do. Team defending, very, very resilient, considering this tactic is definitely, I want to reiterate, definitely not a defending tactic. We conceded under 0.7 goals a game, so under a goal a game, and the expected was under a goal a game as well. So we're scoring 3, conceding less than 1. What does that equal? A win. That is what we want. As you can see here again, tackle win ratio might be a little bit on the lower side because I do tell him to sort of, you know, just fly in. That's who I am as a manager, being 100% honest with you. But no. Overall, one hell of a season for Manchester United, and we are now going to switch things up. We're not going to go right into Napoli. We're going to go over to the Ipswich save and show you what this performs with a lower league side. Because I know a lot of you guys think I only test with big teams. So here we are. We're going to test it with Ipswich, who are in Sky Bet League One. So Ipswich Town, a team that obviously were nowhere near going up last season in Sky Bet League One. We've sort of pulled out the Uno reverse card. We've changed things around here, and we have got them into first place, but not only into first place, we've dominated the league. We've absolutely dominated the league. 115 points to Oxford's 82. We made the league a mockery. We embarrassed everyone in the league. Simple as that. We also managed to win the Papa John's Trophy against Bolton Wanderers, and we made it all the way. Now, give us some credit here. We made it all the way to the FA Cup semi-finals and did unfortunately lose to Liverpool, which we also done in the Carabao Cup. But again, we had one hell of a run in the league, won the Papa John's Trophy, a very good account of ourselves in the FA Cup as well, scoring 125 goals and only conceding 38. Now, this comes to a bit of a surprise to me, I'm going to be honest, because this tactic wasn't designed to be defensively solid. It was all about outscoring. That's what some people prefer to play like that with tactics. I sort of like defensive tactics, so this one was a lot harder to make, but I know, I mean, the results speak for themselves at the end of the day. It's been a very, very good tactic for me, and I'm definitely going to carry on using this, especially in saves where I find myself with two strikers and 2 wingers, because, you know, if you've got the players, why not use them? We also have Tyrese John Jules contributing with 65 goals, which is very impressive. Now, any Ipswich fans watching, I'm a local lad, but I'm not a big fan, I'm going to be honest. I don't know a lot of these players, so, you know, I'm not going to claim that I do. But we also have Kyle Edwards coming in with 28 assists. Going into the squad then, goals, we've got 65 from Jules, Ladapo coming in with 38, 22 for Harness, Chaplin coming in with 17, we've got Simpson coming in for 14, Kyle Edwards coming in for 14 as well. Assists, we've got 28 from Edwards, Matt Penny coming in with 24, 18 for Harness, Ladapo coming in with 13, 11 for Bull, Harper contributing with 10, 9 and 9 from El Mazzuni and Jules as well. So, overall, a very, very even. And one thing I will say again, you are seeing a lot of goals from a lot of different players, and that is exactly what I wanted to say and have in this tactic. Obviously, there is always going to be that one standout player, which you will see why when we break down the tactic, but it's not reliant on him. Like, if he doesn't score, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players that still got over 10 goals that season. And it's important that you guys do sort of, you know, you do have a bit of depth if you are going to use this tactic going forward, especially. Because even if it's not the best depth, but obviously it's a lot better than... You need at least 3 strikers, because otherwise you're going to be playing the same guys over and over and over again. I'm not the same games. I'm going to say you're going to be playing the same games over and over. You're going to be playing the same guys over and over and over again. Now, obviously, I know that's easier said than done in some saves. Like, for example, in my journeyman, I only had 2 strikers. But literally, to be honest, they don't have to be world-class, is one thing I will say. So don't worry about having a complete world-class front 4 with this system, because at the end of the day, for example, like in the Manchester United save, we had Cristiano Ronaldo, who's obviously nearly 5 out of 5-star ability. Then we had Anthony Martial, who obviously isn't. And Martial still scored a hatful of goals. But, little run over. Let's go into the data hub then. So, we managed to score 2.7 goals a game. Not quite hitting 3 this time. Probably because the players aren't as good a quality, to be honest with you. And the expected was sitting at around 2.5. Pass completion a little higher than Manchester United with 90.29. And shots on target ratio it's not going to be high at all, because we don't tell them to create that perfect chance. So you are going to have a lot of shots that might go wide, etc, etc, etc. But this chance is about creating chances, getting shots on the goal. Some will be off target, but because you have so many shots per game, in this one we had 22, they are going to eventually get on target. And obviously the better players you have, the more chances will happen. But trust me, when I've done this with being a little bit more disciplined, making sure they create the perfect chance, it didn't even feel like an attacking formation, guys. It was just boring to watch. Moving on then, team defending. Again, the one thing I want to see, we managed to concede less than a goal a game, which is absolutely magnificent for this division. And also, the tackle win ratio sitting at around 77%. Again, if you guys really want to play clean, just tweak a few things in the system. Don't let him tackle harder. Let him be a little bit softer. But one thing I've learned from Football Manager and in real life, you can't be a nice guy. You have to go in. You have to show a little bit of dominance, because otherwise you're going to get walked over. So for me, picking up the occasional foul, getting a booking, isn't really an issue for me. Also sitting at 40 clearances per game, which is quite a lot, to be honest. But that is going to be the Ipswich sort of test done then. And from going forwards, like when it's my tactics and not based around a manager, I will make sure I include a smaller team, just so you guys can see what it's like using a lot less of, you know, a world-class side. The reason why I don't do this when I sort of do like a manager remakes, or sort of like a Conte or a Klopp, is because I like to purely, you know, test with teams they've managed, because it feels a lot more realistic when I'm playing with that team. That is why I do that. But let's hop over to the last test before we actually break down this tactic, which is going to be in Italy with Napoli. Now, before we do get into the Napoli tactic, guys, or the test, should I say, if you are enjoying this video so far, please do leave a like. It helps the video get discovered. It means a lot to me when I look back at it. And please do subscribe to the channel as well and turn on notifications. This way, you're never going to miss an upload when I live stream, when I do a community post, and also when I premiere a video. But let's get into Napoli and hopefully replicate some of the success we've seen at Manchester United and Ipswich Town. So, I put this in here just to prove two things. One, this tactic is very, very dominant. So we tested it across 3 leagues. Unfortunately, in this one, we were 3 points off managing to win the title, which is a bit disappointing. But we were playing on an up-to-date database, and Napoli have lost so many players. They really have lost a lot of players. So it's very unfortunate, but we still run with it. And I also kept this in just to prove that whatever results I get, I will put in the video. I'm not going to simulate the season over and over and over until I win the quadruple. That's not who I am. I will put in the results I get because that's the fair way of doing it, so you guys know what you're getting. We also managed to win Europa League here against West Ham and the Coppa Italia against Inter Milan. So, unfortunately, we didn't get 3 out of 3 when it comes to titles, but we were very close, and with a few signings, we definitely could have done. But despite not actually winning the title, we still scored 100 goals, ranking us the best, 4th best at conceding. So this is where you might see, this is what I was expecting a bit more, because as I said, this tactic isn't here to be defensively solid, but in the last 2 saves it has been. So I mean, possibly Napoli have got a weaker defence than Ipswich Town and Manchester United, which is very interesting. But Asimhem still contributing, as he always does, with 43 goals. Lozano coming in with 19 assists, so fair play to him again. And if we go into some of the stats then, we can have a little look here. But the likes of Napoli, so let's have a little talk. So they have obviously lost Mertens, they've lost Insigne, they've lost Koulibaly, they've lost a lot of players in this window. So we didn't have all the players I thought I would have, but still, we didn't have a bad season. We had 43 goals from Asimhem, 25 for Lozano, Politano with 23, 14 for Elmas, 12 for Patanga. I'm not even going to say that name because I'll butcher it, and I don't want to, butcher any names around here. 19 assists for Lozano, Lorenzo with 15, 13 for Elmas, Politano with 13, Zielinski with 13, 12 for Roux, and Asimhem with 12 assists. Now, one thing again I'm going to say, as I've said it about every single save, what we're seeing is we're seeing goals and assists spread up amongst a range of players, and that is what I want to see, because we do not want one player doing everything, because that means if that player gets, injured, or he's unhappy, or he's going through a bad run of form, it means that we've got no one to rely on, and that is not what we want. So that is why this tactic is so good, guys, because everyone they get involved, they chip in, and that's the best thing about it. Going on then to what is going to be the data hub. We have got 2.6 goals a game, so we're scoring, let's just say, 2 goals a game. Pass completion sitting in the 90s again. Shots per game slightly less, but still nearly 22 shots a game. So very good stats coming there. Goals conceded for the first time, just sitting at over 1 goal a game. So I mean, if you take the stats, if you're a stat man, we're scoring 2, conceding 1. Typically, you should be winning games. Again, tackle win ratio sitting a little bit higher, nearly 78% here. Tackles attempted per game sitting at around 17 as well. Clearances around 34. But overall, guys, we've tested this tactic now, obviously, 2 times in England, 1 in Italy. Obviously, England, we tested it in the hardest division, being the Premier League, Manchester United. That's my club. And we absolutely dominated there. We dominated in Sky Bet League 1, which is a very difficult league to win. Especially when you're not playing as a favourite by any means of the imagination. Obviously, we've come to Italy, had a very good season still, and won Europa League and the Coppa Italia, and we were so close to winning it right at the end. But unfortunately, we're just 3 points short. But before we break down this tactic, I'm going to do what seems to be a bit of a hit in these videos. You guys seem to really enjoy it. It's going to be a little bit of 2D analysis. So let me pick out a game, and let's break this tactic down. So, this is the game I've picked out. It's a 4-0 win against Juventus in a game which we did actually go down to 10 men as well. Now, I paused it at the start just to show you the sort of shape. So, the fullbacks aren't too wide here. So, we've got the 4 at the back here, which is going to be the 4. And then you've obviously got the sort of 2 in midfield here. And then you've got the other 4 players up here. So, it is pretty much, it is what it says on the tin, basically. It is a standard 4-2-4 sort of system. But one thing I will say is, when you don't have the ball, there isn't loads of spaces, loads of gaps. It does defend quite well. So when I was watching this back, it doesn't actually surprise me how resilient we were, especially in the first 2 seasons. But let's get things started then. We have got key highlights on. We're going to make sure we do, actually, because otherwise we'll be watching the full game. Here we go. We're going slightly faster. So they're going to kick things off then. A ball here into Rabiot. There is a lot of pressing in this. So as you can see here, number 22 in Lorenzo is instantly on him. Number 11 here should instantly go to number 20 if he passes, as he does, but he just about misses it. Lalovic with the ball here then into Locatelli. Again, there's always a press on. That's what I love to see. Number 9 getting close to him. 36 going right into him here. And unfortunately, I think we're actually doing it back. I thought they had a chance there. But you guys can see that just from that little passage of play there. We're not overly pressive to the point where we make so many mistakes and leave ourselves exploited in certain areas of the pitch. But when we press as a pack. And that is what you want to do. Asim with the ball here. Goes up. He's running the team here. And unfortunately, the shot does go wide. Now, that is what I will say. With this system, you're not there to create the perfect chance. So your players will sometimes shoot from outside the box and it might not go the best. But obviously, sometimes in a lot of games, that will go for you. And that can end up getting you the winner. So it is definitely a good way of playing. They take a long goal kick here. We actually sort of win the flick on here. Lozano beats his man, goes to the ball. Look at this run from Lorenzo here. Lozano trying to overlap. He plays it into Asim, into Zielinski, into Fabian. And this is where the fullbacks push up. We have got them on the automatic duty, so they will get forward and get back. And that is a perfect example of why this system works so well with the automatic fullbacks. Because this guy is absolutely bombing forward here. And he should receive it. He does. He plays it back into Asim, and that is the reason we go 1-0 up at the end of the day. And what a goal that was. A beautiful team goal. Finding the fullback in the space. And goals like that never get boring. This was a set piece, so not too much to talk about there. Is Asim again scoring a goal. But we actually do go down to 10 men here, which is very interesting. Very interesting incident. But I mean, we still somehow come out in the second half and scores, 2 goals to put it up to 4. So that just proves, I guess, that even with 10 men, you can do what we're doing. So we win the ball back there. Lozano plays it into Zielinski, into Asim with the ball, into Lorenzo. Again, we're holding the shape quite well. Obviously, we've got Lorenzo, we've got Rahami, we've got Jesus, we've got Roux, and then these are the 2 in midfield. Now that's Asim actually dropping back. Did he just win that back, I think? I think he's won that back. But he's sort of there to hold up the ball, get the ball in play. Lozano, 22. And this is what... Right. Again, so I've not said this. This isn't tiki-taka, by the way, guys. The passing will be quite short, but the players will also go long if they have to. Now, if you guys do prefer a sort of tiki-taka based tactic, I have got a fantastic one, which is a Pep Guardiola tactic that is on my channel as well. So I will just advertise that now in case you guys do want to play completely flawless sort of, system, completely tiki-taka based football. But honestly, this, it might not be the prettiest all the time, but it will get you results. It'll get you goals, and that is the main thing in football. Rahami with the ball here, back into Mere. Again, loads of options on the ball, as we're seeing. Jesus with the ball here, into Fabian, into Rahami again, into Lorenzo. And again, number 20, look at this little run in here. Beautiful. Because he comes in, it's got to be Zielinski. He makes an option because now 22 could put a very dodgy pass into Lozano, which he might end up doing. He could go back, but just in case he needs the option, number 20 has dropped in. And there again, it happens. He finds the player. He then links it into Lozano. Then goes back into Lorenzo. Zielinski there again. What a player, by the way. And this is what I love to see. Lozano, there's always a passing option on. Zielinski really being that sort of, that anchor. That he's always there. He's like a magician. He just gets into the pockets, and it's beautiful to see. Zielinski back into 22. Rahami again. We've held the ball so well here. Asim with the ball. And that is where he thinks it's the perfect time to go long. It does work out for Politano, who cuts it back into Asim, into Lozano. And tell me that is not a beautiful goal. This is the football you're going to be playing, guys, if you use this tactic. That was one of the best bits of play I have seen on Football Manager. The passing went on for so long. The 1 second he thought, do you know what? We can go long with this. He goes long with it, and bam, results in a goal. And what a goal it ended up being. This last goal I thought was going to be from a set piece, but they do get it clear. Fabian, again, options on the ball. Look at this here. Roy has actually realised there is acres of space here. He can come anywhere, obviously not past here, but there's so much space. Is he going to play it, or is he going to go into number 20? He's going to go to Fabian. So this run gets ignored, but what I'm just trying to point out the options that are there if needed. So this guy, again, no one's near him because it would be dumb for one of these to run out here. And that's the beautiful about this. The beautiful thing is sort of like, it seems like because there's so many players that do end up attacking, there's not enough players that can defend them on the other team. So you've always got a player that is free. Lorenzo with the ball into Lozano. Is he going to cross it? That's an awful pass, but one back there for number 13. Lozano with the ball into Zielinski. Goes back into Mere. Options again on the ball. Play a beautiful pass into Lorenzo. Lozano with the ball into Zielinski. Back into Lozano. There is the guy. There you go. Look how long he's been out there. Eventually, he does get found. Into Roy. Ball across into Hasimhem. The ball gets cleared. Scraps on the edge from Lorenzo. Zielinski hits it. And Chesney forces a great save, sorry. But what I'm just trying to show you with that, guys, is that the importance of having them sort of fullbacks on the automatic roll is massive, because they don't get caught out too much, but when you have the ball, they will get in attack and spaces, and that is what you want to see at the end of the day. Again, nearly another goal scored from a set piece there. They do clear it quite well, though. What's going on here, then? It's going to be a free kick, and I think this is going to be the goal from Politano. It is. So I hope you guys have sort of got an understanding of what I was trying to break down there, of how this sort of plays. This sort of 2D analysis was purely focused on the attacking side more than defending. So I wanted to show you how it sort of attacks and how the fullbacks play a crucial role in doing so. But let's get into the most crucial part of this video. And I know it's the reason you guys come, and that is going to be the tactic breakdown and the player role breakdown. So let's get into it. So this is the daily 4-2-4 Supreme. Now that sounds kind of like a double cheeseburger, right? You can change that name if you want to. It's a very interesting name, but that's what I went with. So we have got obviously your basic 4-2-4, but let's go into the sort of the basics of the basics before we do the player role. Sorry. So mentality is going to be on attacking. Positive you can do, but I just thought with attacking, it's a lot more attacking. You score a lot more goals, and it worked really well for me. In possession, we've got fairly wide selected, play out of defence selected, shorter passing. Again, it's not completely tiki-taka, but as you saw from the third goal, you do have beautiful plays, as beautiful possession spells, as well as hitting it long. Tempo is on not slightly higher, on higher, not slightly higher. Ignore me. Where you've got mixed crosses on, shoot on sight, because again, this is what I want from the players. I want a very, very sort of high shots per game ratio, and this worked very well in this system. Run at defence and be more expressive right off the rip. And one thing I'm going to say now is I see countless comments, not on my videos, or sometimes on my videos, but also on other videos that I watch. When you don't know the tactic, guys, don't take it for granted that you then have to change nothing yourself. If you go 3-0 up and you don't change anything, and they end up scoring 3, you have to take a little bit of blame, because if you go a couple of goals up, feel free to turn this off. You don't really need to be expressive anymore, do you? But I do feel like that's a very misunderstood and big misunderstanding in this community. I've seen it on other people's videos as well, on some of the best YouTubers, and I'm nowhere near that level. Where they get hateful comments and stuff like that saying, look, the tactic's crap, I was so many goals up and they ended up equalising. You guys still have to work the game yourself a little bit, so you have to turn, things off, tweak things here and there. Moving on then to in transition, we have got counter press selected and counter. Again, it is a very, very high press inside that we've got going on here. And again, it is very counter attack and base, so that is why that is selected. Distribute quickly is selected as well. We've got distribute to fullbacks and centre-backs, because any of them is really fine. Doesn't matter who it goes to. And roll it out is my preferred type of distribution in this tactic. Out of possession then, we have got a standard defensive line. I thought I had it on higher at one point, and we got, we got caught out way too many times, and lower was just too negative. High line of engagement is the perfect option for this. No offside trap, no tighter marking, trigger presses on much more often, and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Now, I did have this on. Towards the later end of recording this video, I have turned this off because I did notice we get quite a few bookings. But if you guys think that your players aren't, maybe you guys want to see more tactical fouls, is the best way I'm gonna put it, then have this on and you'll see some tactical fouls, trust me. But let's get on to the player roles of this system and really talk about how this sort of impacts the team, and hopefully, just talk about how this team lays out and sets up. So let's start things off with the big man, the goalkeeper. So he is going to be a sweeper keeper on the defend duty. Nothing too special about him selected, apart from shorter passing is on, because I want him to play into the back line, whether that be a fullback or a centre back is completely fine. I do not mind. Moving on then to the right back, which is going to be a fullback on the automatic duty. He is set to balanced, tackle harder on the tackling, stay wider and run wide with the ball, shorter passing, and if he does cross the ball, aim at the centre. Also dribble more selected. So I find when I have that selected, they do dribble up the pitch. They get a lot more, they get a lot more involved, and it works very well. It really does work very well. Moving on into the left-hand side, purely because it's exactly the same as the right back, is going to be balanced on the trigger press, tackle harder selected again, stay wider, run wide with the ball is selected, shorter passing, dribble more, and aim at the centre again when they do cross. I don't tell them to purposely cross the ball, because then we would just be a pump in the ball sort of team, get the ball in the box team, which is this tactic isn't about. But if they do, if they're forced to get the ball in the box, I want to aim at the centre, you know, because we've got two big men in there. So the right centre back is going to be a ball playing defender on the defend duty. On dribble more, because I do want our ball player to play. The centre back that's a bit more better on the ball is the guy you want in this position. He's going to have the ability to sort of dribble out of that back line, possibly even go into the midfield on rare occasions and sort of work it from there. Moving on to the left centre-back, which is going to be the less agile sort of player. On to the left centre-back, which is going to be the more sort of less agile player, is going to be these instructions here. So we've got trigger presses on balanced, we've got shorter passing, and take fewer risks. Now, the reason why this is selected on the risks is because obviously we've already got one player that is going to be taking risks, going up the pitch, trying to get a bit more involved. So if we've got two players doing that, we're going to get caught out at the back absolutely loads. So that is why it is selected on take fewer risks, because otherwise you are going to get caught out. Moving on to the midfielders then. Now, these are the best roles I've figured out in this system. It's going to be a ball-winning midfielder on the defend duty. He is told just shorter passing, nothing else. The one thing you don't want to tell him to do is get further forward, because you don't need it. At the end of the day, you've got fullbacks that are getting forward. You've got 4 attackers. If you get your midfielders too involved, that is where you're going to see mistakes take place. And you're going to see so many balls get lost, and you're going to get caught out a lot. A lot and a lot and a lot. Moving on to the right-hand side, it's going to be a box-to-box on the support duty. So this player might get forward a little bit, but not a lot by any means. I'm not telling you guys what to do, but in my opinion, if you do want to copy this tactic completely, do not have any of these selected, because it's just not needed. We've got him on trigger press on less often, tackle harder on this player, move into channels. That is when we saw that, that speller play where he kept coming, to sort of make an option with the fullback. And that is why that happened, because I tell him to move into channels, move into space. And that is why and how we saw that goal created. Shorter passing selected on this guy as well. Moving on to the left-hand side winger on the attack duty. He is going to be told to trigger press on less often, stay wider, get further forward, and run wide with the ball. Get further forward because I want him to get as far forward as he can, and run wide with the ball because at the end of the day, this system's not really about them cutting inside, because I've got 2 strikers, so I don't want 2 wingers being too narrow, if that makes sense. So that is why we've also got him to aim the crosses at the centre. We're not telling him to, what's the word? I'm not sort of making him just purely crossing and not having the ability to shoot, because as you did see that some of our wingers were getting a lot of goals, but this system isn't about wingers getting goals. Like, it's not like playing without a striker. We've got 2 strikers, so they're sort of they're where the goals are coming from. On the right-hand side, it's exactly the same. We have got trigger press on less often, get further forward, stay wider, run wide, shorter passing, and aim the crosses at the centre. Now, the 2 strikers, this is where it plays a crucial part. Now, the Ronaldo, the Ipswich striker, Asimhem, they were playing in the advanced forward role, which is the most selfish role of the team. But we're going to break through to the complete forward support role, which is sort of the support to the advanced forward. Now, this guy will still get goals, as you've seen with Martial, for example, still contributing with a lot of goals. We tell him to hold up the ball. Now, this doesn't mean he won't score goals. Please don't think that, because a lot of people think that when you play 2 up top, you've got 1 striker that is practically just there to create for the other one. That is somewhat true, but this guy will still get you goals. So do have that hold up ball on. It just means it will hold the ball up, wait for the wingers to overlap, wait for the other striker. And it really does help the build-up play. It really does. Moving on to the most selfish player is going to be the advanced forward. Nothing too special about this, guys. Trigger presses on less often, shorter passing, selfish, selfish, selfish. Dribble more, shoot more often, take more risks, because this guy is really the goal scorer. He's the main man. So every team needs 1 player that's selfish. I will always say that. Whatever tactic, you need 1 player that is always selfish, because striker that's not selfish isn't the striker at the end of the day. That is something I'll live by, because every striker wants to score the goals. He wants to be the best. That is just how football is. But that is going to be the tactic broken down, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed this tactic. If you do want to use it, as I will say, as always, don't feel like you've got to copy this click for click. You can go in the description below and click the download link and simply go up to here, this little box here, click load and find it in your downloads, and it will apply absolutely everything. If you guys have enjoyed this video though, please do leave it a like. Be sure to drop a comment below of what team you're going to use this with, and please do subscribe to the channel. That is going to be it for today, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.